Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Padawan Podcast, Apocalypse Movies All Star Wars podcast, where we break down everything from the galaxy far, far away, including film, TV, comics, novels, and much, much more. Canon and even non-canon sometimes if we get super deep into nerd. I'm Jake Berlin, a.k.a. Qui-Gon Jake, your host for this. I am joined today by Jacob Bartley, a.k.a. Grand Moff Bartley. And then I got Admiral Akbarms himself, straight across from me, Keith Barnes.
It's a trap.
Nice. That should be on your Twitter as your bio. It's a trap. So we're going to talk about two major subjects today because two big things have happened in the world of Star Wars lately. We have Clone Wars saved. Obviously, at San Diego Comic-Con just a few weeks ago, it was announced that Clone Wars, the series, would be getting a new season on the Disney streaming service, and we're going to talk about it. Dive into some possibilities of what we think, what we could see, and how excited we are about it. And then we're going to touch on the Episode 9 cast that was announced, talk about Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and a few other things as well, kind of getting super sweaty about that as well. So let's get into Clone Wars a little bit. Obviously, they planned the 10th anniversary of Clone Wars at San Diego Comic-Con just a few weeks ago. There was going to be the 10th anniversary panel, and nobody really knew what was going to happen. Obviously, possibly like a reunion trailer. They had the guy Matt Ladder, who plays Anakin, was there with Dave Filoni. And so nobody really knew what was going to happen. There was no rumors about this. It was a huge surprise. And I've personally found videos of people who recorded that moment and how excited they were to see Clone Wars Save show up on the screen, and a new footage of Anakin and Obi-Wan pop up with Ahsoka saying, "Hello, Master, it's been a while." Like, that moment is so good in that trailer. It was announced to have 12 episodes. It's going to be on Disney streaming service next year, which is really, really soon. It's a great idea. I just want to get you guys' initial thoughts and possibilities that we can see. We can dive into maybe some arcs that they'll show now that they are going to do a season, and maybe how close it's going to be to episode 3. So I'm going to open the table a little bit.
Well, the thing, first of all, I'm so excited for this. I love it. Jake, thank you for getting me to watch Clone Wars.
You're welcome, man.
I mean, I probably would have eventually, but
you
pushed me to watch it.
Yeah.
And it was around the time when we started the Padawan Podcast, and I was just getting into discovering what really canon was, and this was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
And I had seen Clone Wars episodes before.
Right. He'd scattered them because he didn't show up on screen.
But I knew Darth Maul survived. I knew things, but I just never sat down and watched it. So
I remember that conversation. He was like, "I know that Darth Maul survives." I was like, "Jacob, you have no idea what happens with Darth Maul."
Exactly. Yeah. You have to see how and what happens. Okay. And it's really underrated, but people who love Clone Wars really love Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. But for casual Star Wars fans, they don't know what they're missing, honestly. It's so much lore.
It's not just an animated show.
No,
it's not just a cartoon.
Here's the thing. It's not focused on just Obi-Wan and Anakin on adventures. There's so many different things they touch on. It's almost an anthology series of Star Wars stories because they go on these 4-episode arcs, 6-episode arcs, 10-episode arcs where they tell stories. There's an episode arc about one clone trooper. I forget his name. It's so good.
Yeah.
There's ones about just Ahsoka taking young Padawans to build their first
kyber
lightsaber.
crystals.
Yeah. You get the kyber crystals, and you learn how they find their kyber crystals. There's so many different things to learn, and these are all canon. That George Lucas made sure of it. And to me, for this to return is great because we know Dave Filoni loves it. And the 12 episodes is the thing that catches my eye because it's kind of good because I feel like every episode is going to be special and they're going to really put a lot into it rather than Clone Wars where it's there's so many episodes that
of filler
they took a different turns and stuff.
Well, and that's what happened with Rebels as well. There were fillers.
There's a lot of great things in those fillers sometimes.
Yes,
little moments, pop-up cameos and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's all great.
Yeah.
There's definitely some bad episodes in both series, but the thing with this 12-episode arc, I think they're going to make the whole season special. It's going to have one singular focus. Yeah. So I'm excited.
I don't think it'll have one singular focus.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. And I think that as soon as this came out, the first thing I said is that they're doing Dark Disciple. 100% because that book is based on the unaired episodes of the Clone Wars. Yeah. And we have Quinlan Voss is obviously out there. You have Ventress, who is alive. Obi-Wan is a big part, obviously. It may not be 4 episodes. It could easily be an episode or 2, where it's like maybe it's even mentioned. It might just be a quick snippet into it.
They can't do anything in the book.
Well, it would have to be identical to the book because it's canon. It would have to be identical.
You can show stuff in between the book. We don't see everything that's going on in the book, so you can have it take place like something you didn't see. So
exactly. No, I when I heard this, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Like I have followed the Clone Wars for a very long time. There's a lot of nights where I just put it on, I fall asleep to it because they're 30 episodes. They're really easy to follow. And the great thing about this, unlike other Star Wars stuff, is that it's able to flesh out characters and flesh out ideas of this mythology and this universe. And we got, on top of many other things, and Ahsoka Tano is probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite Star Wars characters of all time. And it came from Clone Wars, but it fleshed out the true Anakin Skywalker that we love. And the whiny aspect of him in the prequels is forgiving because there are moments of that with Kylo Ren. There are moments of that of Luke in the original movie as well. But we got a true feeling of
Clone Wars made him a better character.
Well, that's the true vision I think that George Lucas wanted him to be, and he's able to flesh him out. And Dave Filoni is a flipping genius. What he does with this stuff is absolutely incredible. And this, honestly, it shouldn't have surprised us as much as it did because when the Clone Wars was suddenly canceled, he actually had 2 more seasons planned. Mm-hmm. And so it makes me question how close to Revenge of the Sith this is going to be, because is he going to show those 2 seasons? Are they going to leave it open-ended if people are excited about this as much as they sound they are? Yeah. Will they leave it open to show 12 more seasons that are truly closer to Revenge of the Sith because he has those episodes and those stories just sitting there waiting to be told? So I'm excited for 12 episodes right now, but I'm also worried that they're going to cut it short and not show those other stories that he's always had in the back of his head.
I'm just going to start with this right up front. That last shot of the trailer with Anakin and Obi-Wan and
Ahsoka.
Right before that. With all the Star Destroyers, the little mini Republic
is that the last
destroyers.
shot of the series?
That's the end.
The very end of the series.
That's the battle where they're going to get the Chancellor at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
I think so, but I also think that the final shot of the series will be them getting in their starfighters.
Sure. Yeah, right.
Right before the battle above Coruscant. But I agree.
Big battle.
Yes.
That battle.
We had no idea what that was.
100%. Yeah.
So, we're going to get that. That was the thing. So that leads me into, Clone Wars, I'm not a huge fan of Clone Wars. The last season I think is the best. Although I did like that stuff with Fives. I was actually just watching that the other day.
There's some real. What about the Mortis arc where they go and find the brother?
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. That's made better.
There's some really good stuff in there.
Well, what we saw at the end of Rebels has made that even better.
Yeah, exactly. It ties in.
But I didn't really get into Clone Wars when it was out that much. But for my kids though. Like my son and my daughters too later on, but my son, this was Star Wars for him.
Yeah, I think it was for a lot of people. I think it was for a lot of people.
This was his because he's 14, so for him this was his Star Wars. This was his intro to Star Wars. He got into this. He would watch me watching it and he liked it. But Clone Wars, he knows Clone Wars inside and out. I kind of wish he was here to talk about it because he can give you chapter and verse everything that happened.
So
on that
he
series.
Must be excited.
He was like you. He flipped.
Dude, I lost my mind. I was by myself. I was screaming.
I didn't know what it was. So I was just watching it. Okay, they're like...
Well, the beginning of it doesn't seem like a real trailer.
Well, so I was
confused.
I was listening to Collider Jedi Cancel earlier, and Harloff, who was there, he said that a lot of people who were there watching it thought they were going to do a series or a movie based on the clones.
That's what
and they were disappointed because it showed that.
But and then Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Oh my god, dude!
So
I was so excited.
So hearing the dialogue and seeing all those scenes, and I'm asking them. I was showing my kids the trailer, and I said, "Kevin, my son Kevin, I was like, because he went." And I was like, okay, this is something good.
Yep.
And he immediately yelled out, they're going to finish it. They're bringing it back.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, so
dude,
I'm
getting the goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Man.
I got the chills.
And I'm like, so this isn't
really
new? Like, is this, have you guys seen this any of these images before? Like, no, this is new stuff.
It's brand new.
That's what I was wondering.
Well, the tell was Anakin's hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's closer. It's closer. And he's got the scar.
And that's when he saw Anakin.
It's definitely closer to episode 3 than it is anything else.
And we thought in Clone Wars the last time we saw Ahsoka too.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
Right.
Well, and what's going to be interesting is that that, and I was listening to the Collider stuff earlier, and they had done some really cool stuff, but I think they had mentioned something really cool where the first 4, 5, 6 episodes may be where we see Ahsoka again and her bringing back into the fold. Maybe not in the Jedi Order, but she's obviously with the Mandalorians. She has a connection there.
She's contacting Obi-Wan and Anakin for a reason.
Well,
right? Yeah.
It's going to have to do with the siege of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Remember that played a big fact in Rebels?
Right.
Maybe they finish off, like maybe they do 2 seasons, right? We see 6, 7 episodes with Obi-Wan with Anakin. What if the last 5 or 6 are based on Mandalore? And then we see a second season where it leads into episode 3. They could split it because Ahsoka is such a huge part, not just of Clone Wars, but with her impact on Rebels and how they left off Rebels. If they don't show her more than they should, people are going to lose their mind. And now that we saw her with Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians, that's some big possibilities there.
Yeah. And how close do you think we're going to see Maul again? Like, do you think they'll?
I was thinking about that.
Are they going to tie in?
The last time we saw him before this,
he's on Mandalore. He's on.
Him.
Well, remember he was on Mandalore.
Right. Yeah.
And so maybe Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and her crew is going after Maul for taking over Mandalore.
That's the first thing I thought.
That could be a huge storyline in this series.
And how close are they going to bring this to what we saw in Solo with where Maul is there? Like, there's got to be a.
Well, maybe they push him out of Mandalore and he finds the underworld.
And then he's okay, there you go.
There's your answer.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's why I'm surprised it's only 12 episodes because there's so much stuff you can touch on. It's crazy. I have a prediction. That will be an hour long.
Dude, I really hope so because they're releasing all the episodes together on the streaming service. It's like really? Netflix. It's one giant release.
You know what? They're going to be like 45 minutes to 50 minutes long.
Because
Netflix shows, they're like 49 minutes.
How
incredible. You know what I mean? They're going to make them as long as they need to be under an hour.
I don't know if they need to be because the Clone Wars did such a good job of like keeping everything tight knit, but it would be incredible if they did because they are only 12 episodes.
Think about it. They don't have to be 30 minutes on the dot. That's network television. They can be 35 minutes. They can be 42 minutes. Like, it can be whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, but that animation, it takes a while to do. Like, when is it coming out?
It's like it's fall of 2019.
We don't know how long they've been
guarantee you they've already been working on it. I guarantee you
they've
already been working on it because all that stuff has already probably been in the works for years, ever since it got canceled.
Yeah.
So that's a good prediction. That gets me excited. Man.
I just want to see more Obi-Wan and Anakin together because
that's what the series was based around.
For me, what makes me upset about Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith is Obi-Wan and Anakin get split up in both movies. Yeah. And I thought this trilogy was supposed to be about them together. And so that's why I love Clone Wars because you get to see them together.
A lot of it was based around them and how they interacted with each other and their connection, and it was a true brother friendship, like they said. And they loved like how Obi-Wan says revenge ship, you were like a brother to me.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that in the Clone Wars. We saw that in Dave Filoni.
Right.
George Lucas is the godfather of all this stuff, but Dave Filoni knows these characters in and out. He studied them. Right. He knows what to do with them. And so I have no doubt that we'll actually see that because it drove this series for years.
That's what I want them working together, whatever's going on.
And the addition of Ahsoka, they were like a tripod, 3 of them together until she left. Like Ahsoka was ultimately Anakin's Padawan, but she was just as much Obi-Wan's Padawan as much as Anakin's.
And he actually see, that's one of my biggest criticisms of the prequel trilogy is, I didn't like seeing them at odds all the time with each other.
They were always bickering. Yeah. Always.
Which I thought...
And it wasn't brother bickering. It was a different kind of bickering.
So when you get to that end where he's crying, you were the chosen one, you were my brother, I love you. Like,
well,
I didn't get that.
Well, it looked like when they come up in the elevator,
it looked like y'all hated each other.
Well, it's because Anakin has so much anger in him. George Lucas tried to make sure we knew that he is so angry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't get that in the Clone Wars. He's still a happy...
Right. And I love that.
Like Jedi, even though we see those anger moments in him... That's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so good.
And I wonder if... so that moment in Rebels, and spoiler alert for Rebels, Season 2, but... so that moment when when Ahsoka fights Vader, and his mask cracks...
Yeah. See the yellow eyes.
That's when she sees that it's Anakin. Do you think think she knows before
She knew beforehand. So, at the end of Season 1... I don't know if you remember at the end of Season 1 where she finally comes in at the final episode to the Ghost Crew, and she has a vision and she feels the voice, and her eyes lit up, and she realizes, and it turns off.
I don't remember that.
She just found out, but she kept it a secret the entire season 2.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that. Nobody ever knew that Vader was her
she
master.
Didn't say anything about
she didn't say anything
that,
until that final moment. But she knew in season 1. But again, she didn't know, so she will never know in the Clone Wars.
Right.
So
we're not going
it'll
to
be
see
interesting
that anyway. But yeah.
Well, just touching on one more thing before we move on to episode 9, I think it would be really interesting and cool if, the final shot was the Battle of Coruscant, obviously them getting into the Starfighters.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe doing some kind of prologue, or not a prologue, but an epilogue of fast forwarding, of possibly seeing a real life look at Vader when Anakin first turns, because that's what we really wanted in episode 3, of him attacking the Jedi Temple, taking down all those Jedi, that emotional moment, like a quick 30-second minute epilogue to end the series.
I mean, that would be great,
it.
but the thing is, that wasn't during the Clone Wars, really.
Right.
I mean,
But what if it's like a time jump? What if it just does a time jump?
Yeah, they could do that.
Just to finish it off.
Because technically it was at the end of the Clone Wars, and then...
The Clone Wars were still kind of going on in episode 3. I mean,
he's the one that single-handedly ended the Clone Wars.
Yeah, he finished the Clone Wars. Yeah, like Obi-Wan and the clones were fighting on Utapau in episode 3.
He killed the Separatist
You
leader.
could wrap up the very last episode could be that. But
like, what if we just saw him attacking the Jedi Temple with the clones behind him, a full-on just 5-minute sequence of him doing that, really embodying Vader, like
that era is right when he becomes Darth Vader. That era is gold. That they're gonna make a movie.
Because that's what we wanted to see in Revenge of the Sith. That's what we wanted to see, is him as Darth Vader, and we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So why not do it in this?
Yeah, I could totally see that.
That would be amazing,
dude. Anakin. I always say, Anakin Darth Vader, terrifying.
Yes, absolutely terrifying.
Way more terrifying than the mask and the breather and the.
Him without the mask is
he would have been just gosh,
dude, it would have been nuts.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap up our Clone Wars coverage. We're gonna move on to episode 9 now. Got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Before we move on, head down to the comments. Let us know what you thought of the Clone Wars. Are you a fan of this? Are you excited it's coming back? Put some comments down there. We'll definitely get back to you, because we obviously love talking about this stuff. So we got episode 9 last week. They announced the official cast. Today was actually just the official start date for episode 9 on filming. And so StarWars.com revealed the official cast. I'm going to read some few things here, just the names that were announced and whatnot. And so we have Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o, who is high up on this list. So that means Maz Kanata is probably going to play a pretty big role in this. We have Domhnall Gleeson, Kelly Marie Chan, Jonas Sutoma, who I believe plays Chewie.
Yeah.
And then Billy Lord, who is Carrie Fisher's daughter. And then obviously it is joined by, headlining this veteran list is Mark Hamill, who, spoiler, went away in episode 8. Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO. Billy D. Williams will be returning as Lando, and the late Carrie Fisher, which is definitely a big surprise. Let's go ahead and start with Carrie Fisher here. We've been speculating for a long time as to what's going to happen ever since the passing of her. How they're going to use her. Will it be an off-screen death? Will she just be off somewhere doing a mission? They released a statement with this cast list from J.J. Abrams himself, and it said the following: "We desperately loved Carrie Fisher. Finding a truly satisfying conclusion of the Skywalker saga without her eluded us. We were never going to recast or use a CG character. With the support and blessing of her daughter, Billy, we have found a way to honor Carrie's legacy and role as Leia in Episode 9 by using unseen footage we shot together in Episode 7. That's pretty big. That's pretty
huge.
big. And so, it begs the question as to how she's going to show up in Episode 9, but 2... how much footage did they actually shoot in Episode 9? Or is it just going to be a lot of footage that's actually shot from a little bit different angles? So, Jacob, I'm going to shoot this one to you first, man. How do you think that she's going to be used? Like, what's kind of the first thing that pops in your mind? Is it like hologram? Is she going to actually be there with the crew? What comes to mind when you think about Carrie Fisher in Episode 9?
I think it's going to have to be very limited.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be. They must have shot something that they can use.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a scene with Adam Driver, maybe, but then they're gonna be aged differently. I mean, not by much, but I think it's probably gonna be some scenes with Poe and on the Rebel.
Yeah,
base.
she's been her and Poe have been attached together through these 2 movies for sure.
So you have to think in the sense of what would they have shot during episode 7. So for me, it's gonna be like a few scenes here and there, but they must have something where they can wrap up the story. They're not gonna kill Leia off in this movie.
No, not at all.
They're not gonna do that. You can't do like. How dumb would that be?
I think it's going to be some kind of,
and
it kind of was teased in The Last Jedi, but I think it's going to be some kind of passing the torch. I think someone is going to take over that role, because let's face it, she's getting older.
Yeah, absolutely.
She can't do as much. I mean, and so.
If you read anybody that's read Bloodline, you know she wants to retire anyway.
Yeah, she does. She doesn't want to be.
Like
exactly.
it could be a thing. I'm done. I can't take this anymore. Like. Yeah. It's your fight now. It's Poe or something.
It may also play into the fact of why they brought Billy Dee Williams back. Maybe he's being brought in to play that kind of role. Even though that's personally what I don't want to see from him. And maybe he is being brought in. Maybe he's been off doing something for the rebellion or resistance somewhere. And he comes in and he's going to fill that void that Carrie Fisher... Because we heard that The Force Awakens was going to be all about Han Solo. Yeah. The Last Jedi was going to be about Luke Skywalker. And then Episode 9 was going to be focused on Leia. And so we have to fill that void. And it's good that J.J. Abrams is coming back because he's the one who started this venture. And so maybe that's why Billy Dee is coming back to maybe fill that void. Or at least have a part in filling that void.
Yeah, I just think in this movie, unless they just totally do something different, the First Order has to get taken down in this movie.
After what happened,
they're going to succeed. Agreed. The Resistance is going to take the First Order down. And they have a scene that works with Leia saying... All right, I did my last mission, taking down the First Order. I'm done. I'm just retiring, pretty much.
Well, I think it's also gonna it's gonna play with Kylo as well.
But yeah, and
something is gonna happen with him, whether he lives or dies. That's gonna push her over the edge to go somewhere and just be distant. You know, do something different and go away. Because I think that obviously the two of them have a big connection. She has the Force. He has the Force. They have a bond that will never go away. And it's been teased through the first 2 movies. And like you said, I do think that a lot of it is going to have to do with Kylo Ren. I think a lot of it is going to be centered around Kylo Ren and their connection and what's going on. But there's a part of me that also believes that all of that footage will be turned into holograms. And that she'll be off somewhere on a different ship. Or
that'd be a lot
going away and like maybe she's giving directions or she's just talking with others. Because after The Last Jedi, it feels almost like Poe is maybe in charge of that small group of Resistance fighters, and maybe Leia's off somewhere doing something.
They passed the torch to him in The Last Jedi. And that scene where she says, "What are you looking at me for?"
Exactly. And Carrie Russell is coming in, who she's been speculated to play a big Resistance fighter up at the top somewhere, maybe like a ship leader or something, and she could fill that void as well. But yeah, I love that they're doing this. I think it would have been wrong by doing anything else. Mm-hmm. It's perfect, and I'm glad that it worked out this way. And I know that I never really had any doubt for that, just because Billie Lourd knows herself how important this was to Carrie Fisher, and so it's good to hear that they're doing this. But it will be interesting to see how they use it.
I just think it's so cool that her character had a bigger role in The Last Jedi.
And I think she's going to have an even bigger role in Episode 9.
She's going to stick around.
She could be the one that
I think
very well. She had a big role in Episode 8, yeah.
Should be great.
Yeah.
Well, Episode 8 kind of near the end. I mean, Leia's sending for reinforcements, or at least making the call.
She made a call, yeah.
That could be any number of things. When they announced Billy Dee Williams, Lando, when they announced him, I kind of thought, oh, maybe it's him. Maybe he's maybe he's leading something. Because, and Jacob, you just hit it around the head. The First Order's got to be shut down at some point because people keep because they're not the Empire.
They're worse than the Empire.
But I mean, from the standpoint of
without Snoke,
things are gonna blow up. Just as far as their place in the galaxy, they're not the Republic. They're not the government. Like the Empire was the government of the galaxy.
They're just an evil that's out there.
They're terrorists, and you kind of. I'm watching one of the things I'm thinking, watching Episode 8 and a little bit of Episode 7, but it's like why. When they had that moment where they made they got to Crate and try to call for backup and like no one's coming. It's like, well, why? Like the First Order is attacking the whole galaxy and no one's doing anything about it. Like so, there's got to be there's got to be other systems out there trying to fight them. So maybe what we get from Carrie Fisher, will be some of that her. Trying to rally support. for the Resistance, because that's a lot of what she has been doing since they formed the Resistance, is trying to get
a bigger, more bodies. Yeah.
Well, the problem is the New Republic was destroyed.
Well,
in the Force Awakens.
I'm glad that you mentioned supplies, because this could be an interesting thing too, and this is just like a little small theory of mine. But what if Lando has, stopped his smuggling? Because I personally don't want to see him going back to the same old thing, kind of like what Han did.
No,
we don't need to see that. But what if he is supplying the Resistance with all of their
That's very
ships,
possible. He could have gone legit.
Yeah.
He's a droid guy.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
And the last shot solidified that.
He might have an army of droids.
Or he might have droids building stuff for the Resistance or whatever it may be.
Yeah. He
may be the supplier for the Resistance. Or what if he's the supplier that DJ was talking about in The Last Jedi? Maybe they stole Lando's ship.
What if that was Lando's
ship? Look how clean it was.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Look how clean it was.
That looks like a Lando.
And look
ship.
at all the coins he had. He's a gambler, right?
Yeah.
I could totally see
Mic drop.
That would be really cool.
Please let that be the case.
How amazing would that be?
Well, he's still running Cloud City, right? He's still mining all that gas there. I'm sure he's still doing that.
Possibly. He's a capitalist guy. He likes his ventures. He definitely keeps some stuff, and so he could very well found a different business, like making ships like X-Wings and TIE Fighters, or maybe he's doing the droid thing because he has a bond with droids. Like droids are like his best friends, his partners in crime, and so
Lobot's is
exactly,
not really droid,
and so I don't know if I want to see him involved in the whole government / resistance thing. I'd rather much see him doing his own thing.
Well, he'll fight the fight though.
No, he'll be involved, but when we see him, I'd rather him be doing something that was off away from the fight and then be brought back into the fold.
He's going to supply them with something.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I do think it will be droids, because I don't know how much the movies consider the novels, but if you finished that Last Shot novel, which I know you didn't, but he's in the droid business, and that's what he's doing. So I could totally see that.
Where in the timeline?
Yeah, is it? It's between Return of the Jedi.
Well, no. At this point, the latest you see him. Just to give a point of reference, Kylo Ren is like 2 years old.
So it's after Return of the Jedi.
He's running
it's after Return of the Jedi.
Droid
okay.
Business,
okay.
So he's away from Cloud City at that point.
Yes.
Okay, so he's not involved in Cloud City anymore.
All right.
So that could play a role. Maybe he got a big business and his business is shot off.
What you said, droids could build weapons, build ships, build supplies. Droids can fight.
Especially after the way we saw how L3 acted in Solo.
Right.
That's a different kind of droid. Mm-hmm. And so maybe if he has multiple droids that act like that and are able to be mobile like that, it could be a different ballgame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to Mark Hamill.
Really quick. Sorry. Is he going to get the Falcon back? I kind of think Chewie.
I
put this in our group message. I said I think Chewie will give him the Falcon back.
I think there's two possibilities. One, I don't think Lando will get it. I think Chewie will ride off the sunset with it, or two, it gets blown up.
I don't think we'll see it.
I think Lando and Rey meet in this movie.
Oh, 100%.
Chewie, Lando, and Rey have scenes together, and Lando sees how much she loves that ship. They offer it back to Lando. Lando says, "No, you keep it."
At this point, personally, it's Chewie and Rey's ship at this point. One, because of the way that she is attached to it since The Force Awakens, but two, in Battlefront, they actually named the ship Rey and Chewie's.
Really?
In the Battlefront 2 game.
I'm playing it right now.
It's named Rey and Chewie.
I think all things being fair, it's Chewie's ship.
It's
Chewie's ship.
It was Han's and his
Chewie's ship.
But he likes Rey. He'll let her.
Chewie's gonna stick by Rey's side.
But the way Han wanted Rey involved in that ship on The Force Awakens, and then how Carrie Fisher, Leia kind of let her take the ship away at the end of The Force Awakens.
And he says Chewie kind of likes you.
Exactly. So it's Chewie and Rey's ship.
And I love
100%.
the way they look at each other at the end of The Force Awakens when they smile at each other. That's such a great scene.
Well, so speaking on Mark Hamill real quick, because there's a little bit to talk about this, but what really stood out to me on this is when he was announced is that he was the first name that popped up. Now, when you look in the cast list, that plays a significant role as far as time in a movie. Mm-hmm. We obviously all thought that he was coming back and kind of knew that he would have some kind of impact on the movie. We didn't think he'd be gone.
Well, we didn't all think that. All the smart people thought that. All the whiny babies out there.
But to me, this shows that he's going to have possibly a bigger role in this movie than he did in Episode 8.
Yes!
Two reasons. One, the way he was in the cast list, but two, J.J. Abrams.
Right.
Because he is directing, and how The Force Awakens shaped out and how he kind of wanted to bring Luke into the fold, he's going to have a big role in this movie.
What his last line in the movie was,
"See you around,
see you around, kid."
Yeah.
So he knows. Come on, Luke's. And I'm talking just Luke Skywalker. He knows what he's doing. I've heard a possibility. I don't know about this. I can't remember where I saw it. He may not. He might still be alive.
I've thought about that. I've thought, what if he became so powerful where he can kind of transfer between?
That I gotta see that. Like,
I mean, it's possible
because
I've seen more things with the Force every movie.
Every movie has evolved the mythology of the Force. What if he just transferred? Think about that. That would be nuts, dude.
That would be crazy.
Imagine him to be alive.
Imagine all the
fanboys. I'm okay.
Imagine all the fanboys just losing their mind finding out Luke is actually alive. After all of the hate and the craziness that went on after The Last Jedi, it brings The Last Jedi full circle.
I don't know if I would, because that moment of hearing the Force theme and him looking at the two suns and him vanishing.
No, it was big.
It was a peaceful.
It
was a peaceful.
I'm okay if he's just a Force ghost.
Right.
That'll make me happy.
But here's the thing: we saw that Force ghosts have an act in the physical world.
Exactly.
So he's not just gonna be a Force.
Yoda's firing lightning at stuff.
Obi-Wan sat on a log. Not only that, but he actually said, "I can't get involved if you go on your own." Mm-hmm. He said that. And so we've known since 1981 that Force ghosts have more. They're not just your average ghost.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of questions around it.
Even if he has as big a role as Alec Guinness did in Empire, that's enough for me. I want it to be more, but if it's that's fine.
I think he's gonna have a big role. One, because there's gonna be a time jump in this movie to where Rey is gonna be getting some kind of teachings from Luke, because he's a different person from when Rey met him on Octo until that moment where he does move on. And I also think the possibility of him haunting Kylo Ren and staying there with him.
I could see that.
That kind of leads me to question. Again, I'm curious to see how they do the Carrie Fisher thing, because if there is a time jump, I mean, how is that gonna? Are we gonna see her more in the closer to where Last Jedi ends, or depending how far they jump ahead?
Yeah.
Which I think that I've always thought they will jump ahead.
I think they will.
At least a couple of years at minimum. Because the Resistance can't continue from this point. Like, they gotta regroup and
Well, there's a small group enough to fit on the Falcon.
Right.
They're just on the Falcon.
That's the whole
They're going to be
Resistance
built
right now.
up by the time the movie.
Well, they're going to find someone. They're going to find someone.
Maybe they're already working with Lando by this time.
Well, and that's why there's going to be
droids, a bunch of droids around.
There's going to be a time jump, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 years. There's going to be a time jump, because there's always time jumps between movies. There wasn't one between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And that's been a staple in the Star Wars franchise, and I feel like J.J. Abrams is going to bring the franchise full circle, not just by doing that, but also bringing kind of in the prequel stuff, wrapping up that.
He said it's going to connect all
of them.
Honestly, as much as hate as Lucasfilm may get for bringing him back, and as much as people may question it because he did the whole, they call it a New Hope remake when it's not a New Hope remake.
It's totally not.
He is the perfect guy for this movie, because it's going to not only bring the franchise full circle, but it is the final installment in the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And he's the perfect guy for it. He's the perfect guy for it.
He's gonna give a perfect mixture of what fans want and what's best for the movie.
Right.
Where
It's not just going to be fan service.
Just he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I love The Last Jedi for what it is, but I just think Rian Johnson did whatever he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. He broke the rules.
Abrams is going to consider all things and do what he wants, but please the fans. And
I also think that Abrams may do a little bit of retconning here and there with a few things.
I heard that about.
We can't completely change something,
but it'll be minor.
They said there was
you can change Rey's origin if
Rey's
you wanted
parentage.
to with what happened.
But they said I heard that.
But that's the cool thing is, Rian Johnson left open the door because Kylo Ren could have easily been lying to her
and manipulating her feelings with Force, whatever, you know.
He could have easily that could easily be the turn.
Maybe
because I guarantee you that Abrams never had in mind when he did this. She's not just a Jakku girl. She is definitely something more, and she could easily be a Skywalker. She could easily be a Skywalker.
I don't think she's a Skywalker, but she could be.
Hope she's a freaking Kenobi.
It could be something where it's people we don't even know, but she's
she's a major player,
to a planet in the outer regions, then something like that.
Not only that, just make her a young girl at Luke's Academy.
Yeah, even that.
Like, that would make her high profile.
Even that.
And it would play into the fact that when Kylo Ren was in The Force Awakens, he said, "What girl?" Yeah. And then how they have a connection. How they have a connection. Like, there's got to be something there to why they have such a big connection.
Because J.J. Abrams said this during the time of Force Awakens, that he had heard of her.
Yes.
All right, him, and that's one of the reasons.
And she hadn't done anything at that point.
So she is definitely someone.
Yeah.
100% she is someone.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap up our talk on episode 9 in the Clone Wars today. Got some good stuff in there.
Oh yeah,
we did. I was getting you're good. Digress a little bit. I was getting kind of like, all right, and Star Wars, and all right, enough. I liked Solo, but I'm just tired of everyone complaining. We talked about it on our
we did.
Everyone complaining too much about it. This has got. I'm ready to go again.
Abrams is back. It's like the excitement of the Force Awakens again. Not as much, but it's building.
It's coming
because
super.
Well, it's also because of the fact that there's a year and a half break. There's a year and a half break. We don't have anything for a year and a half.
It seems so far away, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Yeah, so that's going to wrap up our Padawan podcast today. Again, head down in the comments and let us know what you thought of everything we talked about today. The Clone Wars saved, episode 9, the cast. What do you think about the Carrie Fisher news? How is Mark Hamill going to be used and everything else going on in that cast list? Maybe some theories as far as what you think episode 9 is going to be about. Head down there. We would love to hear from you guys, and we will definitely get back to you and have some conversations. Guys, can't thank you guys enough for joining me today. Jacob and Keith, love doing this. We're going to be trying our best to do this every other week. Especially because there seems to be more and more Star Wars stuff coming out, especially with episode 9 now in filming. Yeah. There's going to be more and more to talk about. So
we're getting that new Resistance series. Isn't that this fall?
The Resistance series is this fall, so that'll be coming around very soon as well. We have Favreau's series to look forward to as well, the live action series.
I forgot about that.
There is a lot more, so we're going to have a lot to kind of talk about as well. Just kind of throwing some stuff, spitballing in the Star Wars universe. So again. We can't thank you enough for joining us. Head down in the comments as to what you thought. Go to apocalypsemovies.com. This YouTube channel. Check out everything we have going on in this channel. We appreciate all the help and subscriptions. Thank you for joining us today. And until next time, may the Force be with you.